We're Bison! We are impacted! We're Bison! We're ready to get up! We want to win! Light the fire of power that make us free! We never break down! We want to win! We are impacted! The best team!
Hello and welcome to episode 34 of Impacted Live. Coming to you live via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube and Twitch. I'm your host, Bison, and today I am joined by the TNI team of Simply Steve and the Joker. Hello, chaps. How are we doing this week?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Absolutely beaming after all the feedback I've been getting this week. How are you guys?
Yeah,
How about
we're
you,
good.
Steve?
Absolutely beautiful weather, and yeah, we've had a great week.
It is pretty cool, man. It's been a really good week, hasn't it? Weather-wise here in the old in Blighty, it's been fantastic. In fact, it's absolutely boiling in my office. You'll probably notice, guys, I'm in my office again this week. I've got the windows open. Fortunately, there's no fans in here, so I'm boiling my backside off. And I know that Steve's got a fan on there. What's it like for you, Joe?
It's not too bad out here. It's the only reason why the curtains are drawn is because the sunlight's going to be making up me like too silhouetted. So it's warm. It's not too warm.
Not too bad. Not too bad in your area, no.
But I was so drained from going flat out over the past week. I've slept most of the day.
Okay, mate. So you're ready and you are raring to go. I decided that last week, because I was wearing my Sammy Callahan shirt last week, we didn't seem to have so many ICU problems for me. So I've put on my other Sammy Callahan t-shirt today. Fingers crossed there'll be no ICU moments for the Bison again this week. So hopefully he'll stay away. Hopefully he'll stay away for you, Steve. Maybe you should have used my my theory there by wearing a Sammy Callahan shirt yourself. But there you go. There you go. It is. It's always is, my friend. Always is. So hopefully it won't be Joker this week. Maybe it's just going to pass it. We're just going to pass it around or something like this week. We're going to lose Joe, but hopefully not. Let's fingers crossed. Everyone in the chat, keep those fingers crossed. It's great to see people joining us already. I can see Zach's in there. Gary, obviously, thank you for joining us again this week. We've got Mir in there. Steve obviously is in there as always. He looks after you guys well, so it's good to see a few people in the chat already getting going, so that's great. Can I just ask at this point that we give us a good thumbs up? You only have to just give that button a thumb, give it a good thumbs up. If you're new to us and you've not subscribed to the Total Nonstop Impact channel now, make sure that you do that. Hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit the button, give us a thumbs up, hit the button, and then give the bell a tickle. All right, to make sure that you don't miss any of the content coming out from TNI-UK and, of course, the US teams every single week. Of course, we're here with you live every single Wednesday, 6 p.m. UK. I think it's 12 noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Don't ask me what it is on the other side. I've got no idea whatsoever. It's definitely a few extra hours on top of that, I'm sure. So, and of course, we do get some viewers all the way from the Middle East and Australia. So let's just say, even if you're not in here at the moment or you're listening on the replay or on audio only, welcome to TNI UK, all of you guys from all over the world, Australia, India, the Middle East, wherever it is that you're listening in the US or the UK and Ireland, or Europe. It's great to have you with us, guys. Great to have us. I tell you what, in the chat, if you're with us now, if you're live in the chat now, it'd be really cool if you guys let us know where you are. Go on. Put it up in the chat. Let us know where you are in the world listening to us today. That'd be really great. And again, like I said, if you're new, make sure you give us a thumbs up, you subscribe, and you tickle the bell because you don't want to miss anything. All right, so that'd be really cool. Exactly. Tickle. All right, mate. Jesus, this is family viewing. But anyway, okay. So we've got so much to talk about. Hang on, you'll have Slowpoke on it in a minute. So listen up, because look at that. So we've got some coming in already. So Mia obviously is from Miami, Florida. We've got Dragon
Wales?
Storm coming in from
Boston?
North Wales, UK. Welcome, guys. It's fantastic. Armin
Boston.
is coming in from Boston. That's fantastic. Although he's moving to West Palm Beach this summer. Fantastic. So it's all good. Zach, no bell talk. No, you're right,
Okay.
mate. I'm down with that. Not unless you're going to give it a tickle, obviously. And then we could talk about that all day long. But moving on. We've got some interesting stuff, happening this week. We've got some news and we've got some rumors going on. But first thing I want to do is welcome the newest member of the Impact roster, and that is Steve Macklin. We found out this past week on Impact, although we've seen a few teasers already over the last few months, that Steve Macklin is clearly coming to Impact Wrestling. He obviously loves a Jameson. I think it's that time of year where we start to get the whiskey out, leading up to Slammiversary. He obviously likes it on the rocks as well, which is great to see. But Steve Macklin, I mean, what are your thoughts on this guy coming to Impact? I'm really excited about it, I got to say, because I know this guy's got a lot of talent. I've seen some of his work before. And I'm actually very intrigued by the promo as well. So what about you, Joe? What are your thoughts on this?
The name is familiar. I don't think I've seen any of his matches, but Sammy Callahan's so interested in him coming in as well. So if Sammy Callahan's already rooting for him, that's a good sign, because Sammy Callahan's a really good talent scout. And fair play and welcome to him for coming into the roster. It's great to see another new face come in. So I'm all forward to seeing what he can offer. Sounds good. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, like Joe said, I know of him, but I've not really seen much of him in the ring. From what we saw of him backstage, he seems to have a decent character about him and seems to just have basic charisma from him. Obviously, he does have connections with Deonna Purrazzo, so I expected to see him in Impact. I was surprised we saw him this quick, because I assumed they'd wait until Wesley Blake was available, because Impact does need established tag teams. But it looks like he's coming in as a singles wrestler.
Oh, there's always room to mix them together.
Exactly. In answer to your question, Armin, I think Steve was actually released in the previous 90 days, so he's actually had a year off. So
Back in December, I think, wasn't
exactly. So that's why he's able to, produce, be able to sort of kind of do his promos and obviously appear on TV. The thing is, what I think is it's quite cool what they're doing, because if we have got another 2 or 3 talents coming in at Slammiversary, to promote Steve now, I think is a good thing. So now we definitely know Steve's coming in. Who else is coming in to join him? Could Wesley Blake turn up? He's not going to turn up at Slammiversary because he was on the last. Was he in the night? Would he be in there within the 90 days?
Joe, so yeah, he could turn up.
Okay, so there is a possibility that he could turn up as well then, which would then obviously, potentially, if they want to produce a tag team, who knows, the Forgotten Sons, maybe that is something that could happen. But you never know. You know what I mean? You just never know. I mean, who knows whether he's going to turn up. If he does, it'd be great. If not, we've got Steve Macklin, and I'm happy with that. I'm still convinced that we're going to get Samoa Joe come Slammiversary, even if it's not like on a long-term deal. Even if he comes in, he's just got some sort of kind of paper appearance, or he's got a 6-month program ahead of him. I just think it would be really cool to have Samoa come back, and I think what it would do is really create some buzz again,
like what EC3 did.
Exactly, we might get something similar to that. Although having said that, I'm still not convinced that we've seen the last of EC3. I think once he's done what he wants to do at Ring of Honor, and he's done some of his other control the narrative stuff, that we'll see him come home at some point in the next sort of couple of years. I think that would be amazing.
I can definitely see EC3 coming back if or when Moose wins that world title.
who knows? Could come back to challenge him or come back to back him up. I don't know. There's lots of ways that we could see that happen. Definitely. Fantastic to see Lakers turn up. Hello, my friend. Hope you're well.
How you doing?
Yeah, it's all good.
Good to
So
see you.
everyone's really starting to fill the chat out now, so that's really good. Remember, guys, if you've got anything to say, let us know. Anything that you think about with regards to some of the things that we're talking about now, that would be really cool. So just pop your stuff in there. Now, the other thing that happened this week, which I think is a really, really big thing, and funny enough, this is what I've wanted to see from Matt Cardona pretty much like all along. So for me, Matt Cardona's heel turn, or this new sort of kind of heel character that he's created now at GCW, that is the character I want to see at Impact Wrestling, because I think Matt will make a badass heel if you let him go with it. I really, really do, and I think that's where he's going to show his true colors, his true talent will shine through. He's never really been a badass heel like that in his entire career. So I think, this is a good move for him, and I'd love to see this maybe be the start of him turning heel, where Brian Myers has come in, took him out from Impact for a couple of months. He's gone away. He's thought about it. He's got annoyed and got pissed off and decided he's going to come back as an absolute badass and not give a fuck. That's the kind of attitude that we were seeing from Matt in that promo that we saw, or that segment that we saw from GCW. What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts on this one? What do you think in the chat? Let us know.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, because what we saw in Impact was really my first proper time of seeing Matt Cardona. Like, I've never really watched much of EE, so I never really saw Zack Ryder. But from what I saw from Cardona was someone you could definitely put at the top of the card and maybe have as that top guy. But towards the end of that area, surrounding Myers, like, he was just missing something. Like, he felt like he was just spinning his wheels and going around in circles, and I was like, something needs to change here. And when we found out he was out like indefinitely or out for 12 weeks, and then we found out he turned heel on the at GCW, I was like, this is what needs to happen. This is the change that we needed.
I agree. I completely agree with that. What do you think, Joe?
I can say since he came to Impact Wrestling, he's done himself justice. He's turned the 15 years or so he spent at the E on its head and just showed the whole world what they should have done with him, regardless of whatever role he was playing. He's absolutely fantastic wrestler. So when he come onto Impact Wrestling, he did exactly what I said Heath would do. You put those guys into Impact Wrestling and watch them shuttle the doubters up and blow them all away. Diana Purrazzo's done it. Eric Young has done it. EC3 did it. Matt Cardona's done it. Brian Myers has done it. The list can go on and on guys at WWE have just let down and then thrown back out. Even Drew Galloway, and then he's gone back into the WWE now and obviously got a lot more successful. But he wouldn't have done it if he hadn't proven himself in TNA and Impact Wrestling to begin with. So it's just like once they get that fresh breath of life, and they know they've got that fresh breath of life and that extra freedom, because some people, once they left the WWE, they're just scared to go forward anywhere else because they just don't think they can. But that's a bit different issue altogether. So anyway, Matt Cardona, I've saw the clips of him in this match, but he's also a pretty good deathmatch wrestler as well. So it's like a hidden gem that people haven't actually known a lot about him. He's done quite a few hardcore matches and stuff in his past. It's just never been in the forefront. And if he comes back to Impact Wrestling as a heel, that would be interesting. If he comes back to Impact Wrestling as a face, that would be interesting too. Because I want to know where Brian Myers is going with Sam Beal. Are they going to become an established tag team? Because obviously something good's brewing there. But whether Matt Cardona comes back or not is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to this match he's got with EC3 as well. Because who's going to be the bad guy in that now? It's that the free narrative Is EC3 now going to still be the heel that he's been this entire time, or is Matt Cardona now actually going to be the bad guy in this whole story?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows exactly where that's going to, where it's, you know, exactly going to go. But I know this. I want to see Matt come back to Impact Wrestling in a couple of months' time as this Matt Cardona, not the old, not the Matt Cardona we've had before. Not to say that was bad. The always ready Matt Cardona is fine, but this Matt Cardona is a badass, and that's what I want to see. I want to see that Matt Cardona at Impact, and he would be incredible. And I think people would really see how good he really is.
I don't know if you saw the video, but when he took out Nick Gage, the amount of heel he was getting from that crowd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was fuck Zack Ryder and all that. Zack Ryder sucks and all that shit. You know, and that, you know, but that just tells you, doesn't it? The guy is obviously, he's got it. He could be a proper total heat magnet. And I think, you know, his career could go on a completely different path. So, you know, Matt Cardona, you know, we need this heel. We need this heel in Impact. So, you know, come on, lad. Let's see this. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, and Joe, we were mentioning this off air, was Mickie James planning an all-woman pay-per-view with NWA. Now, I'm not a massive NWA fan, you know, so, you know, I won't necessarily be bothering with this because I just don't like the way that they do things. I don't like the way they badmouth Impact. However, you know, I think this is a cool thing for Mickie to do, an all-woman pay-per-view. You know, it is cool in a sense that, like I said, I guess it is the very first kind of pay-per-view as such that would be all women. Obviously, we've seen Impact do the Knockouts, Knockdown, one night onlys, which I guess is a similar concept, but, you know, and I can't remember where we had to pay for those or not. I think over in the UK, we just saw them. So if you can let us know in, you know, if in the US you had to pay to see those one night only shows, I'd be interested to know that, because in reality, that would then mean that the Knockdowns were officially pay-per-views. You know, so I don't know, but
the biggest difference is Mickie James is fully in charge of this whole thing she's setting up. So it's like she's doing what Cody Rhodes is doing in AEW. She's got like it's all her idea. It's not like she's taking a concept someone else has done and saying this is my idea now. It's she's setting the foundation for it and building upwards rather than you know, and it's open to women from all companies as well, from what I've read as well. So it's probably one of the reasons why Kylie Ray's gone there, and we might be even seeing some of the Knockouts go there. Like Tasha Steelz might go back to NWA to fight there as well. So it's going to be interesting.
It may be a like she may fancy a challenge, and this is a hell of a challenge.
Exactly. You know, people can say, "Oh, she's just doing it because Nick Aldis is there." No, NWA is a long running wrestling company, and it needs help. You know, Ring of Honor needed help, and it got EC3.
You've got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and NWA needs help, and I was hoping Mickie James would come back to Impact Wrestling. So that's another one on my list off. He's gone a different direction, but
for reals.
Bringing this, her bringing this to NWA, it is absolutely amazing. The fact that they're even willing to give her the opportunity to do it when she did pitch it to Vince McMahon, and because he didn't have any creative control over it, he threw it out the window and then gave her all of that stuff in a bin bag and fucked her off.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get what you're saying. I do. I 100% get what you're saying. You know, I just feel that, you know, I don't know. Maybe there, you know, this whole thing is bringing Impact and NWA together. My only issue here is that, you know, if she's expecting any of those Knockouts to go to NWA, then I'm sorry, but, you know, perform with NWA, then Nick Aldis and you know, whatever his name is, Pumpkin Man, needs to literally like stop badmouthing Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I don't agree with the disrespect or anything, but you know, fair play to Mickie James for putting all gripes aside or whatever anybody else has, and they're just saying, let's start again.
Well, maybe that's what's going on. I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but if that's what's going on, then great. But like I said, as far as I'm concerned, until Nick what's his name? Billy Corgan.
Billy Corgan.
Stop bad mouthing Impact. Then
Well, I mean,
Turn that frown upside down, my man.
was Aldis there when Demore and Callis there? Because I don't think he was.
No, he
wasn't.
He came in with Jeff Jarrett and the GFW clowns. And,
exactly. He was brought back in at that point, and then went again. Now, so he's the company that he is now is not the company it was when Nick was there. So, same with Billy. I mean, Billy's obviously got beef because he was trying to buy Impact Wrestling, but obviously he didn't have the money to do it. Unlike, Anthem. I mean, all is fair in love and war, right? Really, in realistic terms, Corgan should be pissed off with Dixie Carter. Because obviously she's the one that sort of kind of gave him the impression that he was going to be able to buy the company, but luring some money out of him or whatever she did. And she's no longer really there, is she? So no. I think I don't know.
It's childish that he's still holding this grudge against the company now. It's like almost 10 years later.
Yeah. It's just crazy. It's just the way that he sort of kind of, I don't know. He claims all sorts of things. Old Corgan. He claims all sorts of things. Same with Nick. All this, Impact stealing NWA stars and all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm sorry, but it's just not true, is it? No. It's the same with it's like us turning around and saying like Taya Valkyrie was stolen by the WWE. Well, it doesn't work like that. Like,
no. Once your contract, you're a free agent, and that's what you're a free agent is.
You move on. Your contracts, people make an offer, you move on. That's the way it works. You don't see us. I mean, yes, ultimately, we'd love to keep all of our big stars at Impact Wrestling. Of course, we would, because we love them. We want to keep watching them all the time. But at the end of the day, if a lure of a massive paycheck, turned up or came in. To you for a bigger, the ultimate company in the wrestling business, and there's a figure on that piece of paper which just blows you away. You're going to take it. You know what I mean? You've got to think about the rest of your life. She could get injured tomorrow. Like, she gets injured tomorrow and her career could be over, right? And if that happens, and she would regret not taking that contract.
Yeah, it's just sort of twisting the story to make it feel like he's the victim, sadly.
I know several people like that.
Yeah, totally. I totally get that, but it's interesting to see how it all pans out. I'm not a Nick Aldis fan anyway. I think
I find him really boring.
I think paint drying and grass growing is way more interesting than Nick Aldis. So there you go. Now let's move on from that. Now the other thing that's come out recently, obviously since Tuesday night, obviously when we had the Josh out for TJP. Now that Josh and TJP are taking this particular match to the Indies, which I think is an awesome thing to do. I really do. I think that's a really, really cool thing to do. And apparently all you need to do is contact David Penzer at David Penzer on Twitter, or david.penzer@gmail.com. If you're looking to book TJP versus Josh Alexander at your indie promotion, I could not recommend it enough. If you haven't seen it, you need to get on YouTube. It's available on there. For the whole 60 minutes is on there. So you need to get on the Impact Wrestling YouTube channel.
60 minutes plus, weren't it?
I mean, it was 68 minutes in total. It was just an incredible match. So if you're not 100% sure, then you need to get your backside in there or on YouTube. You need to watch it. It's an incredible match. So if you're looking to do that, if you're an indie promotion, you're looking to get Josh Alexander or TJ. If you're looking for a show-stopping match, a headlining show-stopping match, that's your one. Josh Alexander versus TJP. Contact David Penzer, david.penzer@gmail.com. Get booking, guys. You're going to absolutely love it. That's where it's at. Okay, so that's pretty much the news, really, isn't it, guys? I mean, there's a few other bits and bobs, but We've got so much to talk about that I think we should just get cracking, really.
Yeah, there's like rumors about P.T. Williams, but we can touch on that later on.
Yeah. I've noticed a few other people have turned up in the chat. So it's nice to see Lakers in there. I think Hakeem's turned up as well.
Oh, it's good to see you.
Yeah. Who else have we got that's turned up
Eric
recently?
Travis,
Just Critical Sting.
Stings popped
Eric's
up.
Eric's in the house. Fantastic. Great to see you guys. You know, you guys really make this really good for us. So thank you very much. We are going to do some against all odds predictions, Hakeem. We're going to get to that in a bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that go home show. We've got BTI, we've got the go home show, and then we're going to get straight into the 7 matches currently advertised for against all odds. I think this is going to be an incredible special. So I think there's going to be a lot to talk about with this one. But let's get to tomorrow night on Impact. We've got BTI, we've got Diener with obviously from Violent by Design versus Crazy Steve with Decay. You know, what are your thoughts on this, guys? Because I think this is a difficult one for me because I want to see Crazy Steve win. I want to see Decay start winning everything, but at the same time, I think Diener could possibly do with a win himself. He's been on a bit of a loser streak, so it'd be nice to see him get a win as well. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe?
I'm so torn, so torn between the both of them. And what I really like about this is it's telling everyone the history that Crazy Steve and Diener actually have with each other, and the history they have with Eric Young. You know, I knew that Diener and Eric Young had history when I was looking up stuff about Diener's for an article I was doing. But I didn't know about Crazy Steve and Diener and all the work they done. It wasn't on the stuff I was looking for. It just wasn't mentioned who his they won tag champions in places. It didn't say who his tag partner was. That or I probably wasn't looking hard enough, or Wikipedia's just not the best source of information. I want realistically. I think Diener's going to win. To give Violent by Design the momentum going forward into against all odds, and then Eddie Edwards is probably going to lose on the night as well. So Joe Dorrington to get the momentum there as well. But if Crazy Steve was to win, I think that might still give Violent by Design more incentive to just kick their ass and win the match regardless. So it's not going to damage the match that they have against all odds either way. It's I want Crazy Steve to win because I want Decay to win, and I want Diener to win because I'm such a big fan of Diener and Crazy Steve. But Diener needs a win. He hasn't had a strong victory for a very long time, and I've said a couple of times beforehand that it seems to be that his heel turn is starting to lose momentum a bit more. But I've said that about Decay as well because they've not been winning matches, that their momentum's starting. So it's this rhombus tipping scale that one's going to balance the other one out, and so it's where against all odds is where we're going to see where the balance is really at, and who gets the best showing. But then of course we've got Rosemary's in the match against all odds too, so that's going to be interesting too.
So Steve, what about you? What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, like Joe said, I feel that with a lot of the matches against all odds, Impact have kind of booked themselves into corners because you've got a lot of people against each other, and neither one, it's the wrong time for a lot of people to be facing each other. And this is kind of one of those scenarios. However, with this match, I kind of feel like Steve is going to get the win, and that will play into a story going into against all odds.
Yeah, Eric Young might punish Diener even more and then make him more violent by design.
Yeah, that's kind of what.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, no, I agree with that totally. I just want to say, get be fool. You're completely right. Crazy Steve is such an underrated worker. Totally, the guy is fantastic in the ring. He's great character. I had a ding dong with someone on Twitter the other week, but he was like basically saying Crazy Steve sucked, and I was like, "Are you fucking insane? Like, seriously? Like, how can you say that? The dude is fucking awesome. You know, as well as being clinically blind."
Try not to react to that.
Yeah, but like with Bison, with Steve also being clinically,
blind,
like you would never know that. Like you would never know that by the way he is in the ring. The guy is superb. So yeah, I mean, I'm big Crazy Steve fan. I think Decay wouldn't be the same without him either. So because I remember someone was like, "Oh yeah, you just need to replace Crazy Steve with some other dude." And
Oh,
I'm
no,
like,
you
"Are you
don't.
like? Are you
It's
fucking?"
because of Crazy Steve we got Rosemary in the first place.
It's just great. Just gets on my tits. That sort of shit. Just gets on my
Yeah.
tits. Are you crazy? But anyway, so I agree with both of what you're saying. The only thing is what you tend to find is when you get one of these sort of kind of like singles match coming into a pay-per-view of like that you're getting a match between the tag partners. Normally, you'll find that the one that loses the match before tends to be the team that wins
Yeah.
in the pay-per-view, right? So I don't know. Are they gonna switch that one up? Who knows what's gonna happen? But I want to see Decay win because I love Decay, but I love VBD. So it's very
That's
very
why I think it's the
difficult.
wrong time for these two to face each other.
Yeah, no,
Because VBD haven't held the titles that long at all. So to swap it to Decay gives them a short reign. But if Decay lose, then they've lost a lot lately. They can't really afford to lose again, can they?
that's the trouble. I mean, that is exactly what I'm saying. It's not. It's a difficult situation. You're right. They kind of book themselves into a bit of a corner, depending on where they're looking to go with the storylines. But again, we don't know where they're going with the storylines. So obviously, that's why it's harder for us to sort of kind of understand what's being created.
I can only think of one outcome, and like I say, we'll get to that in the match. But there's just one outcome I can think of.
I can see this rivalry actually going a lot more long term than a bit like with like when Decay took on the Hardys, but not to go to that extreme. But I could see it being like a long building rivalry. So it's just because they lose this match doesn't mean it's going to be the end of them. We had Ace Austin and Fulton as number one contenders. Now Ace Austin's back on the X Division title instead of so Madman Fulton's the one really. He's got no direction at the moment other than Decay. But I can see that Violent by Design and Decay, they can be building up some really good cinematic matches and stuff too. So there's
there's a lot of scope in there. I mean, the other option, of course, is that there's shenanigans. And we get VBD coming down and sort of creating some sort of DQ.
There's also a lot of kind of possibility with what kind of, because there's a lot of like possibility with what EY was sort of saying about maybe Steve sort of turning, but I really don't see that.
Yeah, I think it's Eric Young trying to play mind games with the guy from the Black Hill Sanatorium, which isn't going to work.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. There's so many ways for this one to go. There's so many ways for this one to go. That's an interesting thing as well that Get Before was saying, at the end of the day, could we see Heath turn up at this one? I don't know. I don't think he's ready yet.
We will see Heath by Slammiversary, I'm sure.
I hope so. I don't think he's ready yet, though. Yeah. But, you never know.
Yeah. I can see Steve beating Dina here.
Yeah.
Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. We've got to make sure we tune into BTI now, haven't we, to find out.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't recommend that enough. You're in the UK. It's available. BTI is available from 1 a.m. On Friday morning. So on YouTube. So make sure you catch up on that. And then from 3 p.m. on Impact Plus, obviously, Impact's weekly shows available. So make sure you catch both of those. But, make sure you catch BTI before you check out, the Impact Weekly show as well. So then you're fully up to date with all of that as well. So that's all good. But then we move on into Impact itself. And we've got some interesting stuff. I'm sure there's going to be an impromptu match as well. So, and for instance, Steve Macklin, for instance, maybe he's going to debut tomorrow night. Who knows? We've seen his Vignet. Are we just going to get another Vignet, or will he debut tomorrow? Who knows?
Or against all odds.
You just don't know. Yeah, again, or maybe against all odds. We know that he was at the tapings with Deanna, so you never know, do you? Now, what we've got advertised at the moment, as it stands, though, is we've got a summit between Don Scott and, of course, Tony Khan. So it's going to be interesting to see what the outcome is there. I have a feeling that this is where we're going to see some sort of stipulation added with
Hey,
regards.
Impact Wrestling. It's great to be here tonight.
Yeah, make sure you tune in. Tony will be. So I think it'd be interesting to see this start to pan out. I think, are we going to get a stipulation whereby, if Moose wins, Don, is fired, he loses executive, EVP position or something like that. I think this is where we're going to start to see the on-screen version of, what we already know with regards to Don Callis.
Well,
we just,
as far as I got, like they're showing up to kind of talk about the match with maybe Callahan getting into it, aren't they?
yes, no, I agree. But what I'm saying is, things like this are sort of kind of where they can start sticking those stipulations in. If you put, if Sammy gets injected into that match, all that really does is mean that Kenny Omega doesn't have to get pinned to lose his title.
Yeah.
Which means that he can then walk away. So, for instance, if Moose pins Sammy, right, Omega could walk away and say, "Well, you didn't beat me; you beat Sammy."
Yeah.
Right. He's walking away, not being pinned again. Right. So, is that where this is leading? And maybe they'll throw in something along the lines of, and if Kenny loses that title, well, Don, you can go with him, pal.
Yeah. I can see it going like, we all know how Scott Demore loves to handle these situations. He goes at 100 miles an hour. No one understands what he's saying, so you have to watch it back 2 or 3 times. He's gonna say something, and Don Callis is gonna just go like, "If you're gonna make these decisions without me, then fine. I'm stepping back. You handle it yourself. Don't hold me responsible for what Kenny Omega does." And then as he's like walking away, thinking that he can still get the Good Brothers or something down to keep Moose and Sammy Callahan distracted. I hope that Tony Khan and Scott Demore at least agree to keep it between all three, and then that be like then Don Callis is like, he's walked away from the job, now he's got nothing to lose, so he's like, that's it, I'm finishing you guys, then screw you.
Exactly.
But I know.
It'd be one of those where anyone who gets involved is fired.
Yeah,
I'm going to say this though, like whatever you do not want them to make it a no DQ.
Oh yeah, it's got to be no DQ. It's just keep any outside interference away and keep it between all three.
Scumbag!
Don Callis is a scumbag. You're right.
and this is all building on because Don Callis and Kenny Omega are looking to do more work with New Japan now. So Don Callis stepping away to be Kenny Omega's manager and to help support him through Japan. So Don Callis has got a lot of connections in Japan as well. So it just makes sense and if Don Callis and Scott Demore have done all they said they needed to do, or that they planned to do when they took over the company. They've rebuilt the X division, they've rebuilt the Knockouts division, they rebuilt the World Title division and the Tag division. And so Don Callis has done everything he said that he planned to do, and now PC Williams is saying he's looking to go for the management now as well. Yeah,
which is great. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the sort of thing we want to see from these guys. These guys that have been 20 years in the business. That's what they need to be doing. They need to be slowing down. You know what I'm saying? They need to be getting out there. They need to be taking those management roles, doing stuff behind the scenes. Making sure everybody they're there to give advice as and when needed. That kind of stuff. Let's face the facts. All of the old guard that are at Impact Wrestling are extremely well respected by everybody that comes in, so it's great to have them there. You got your D'Lo Browns, your Tommy Dreamers of this world, Gail Kim obviously for the knockouts. At the end of the day, it's great to have them in there. It really is. Petey Williams could be another one.
Yeah, a lot of them that are working as producers backstage are ones that have been there for years. Your Chris Sabins, your Petey Williams, your Gail Kims. They've been there for. They're ones that are synonymous with the company. They're not just people who've just walked in and sort of said, "I'll have a job."
Exactly.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. Now the next match that we've got on the card. I mean, obviously we have no idea what order they're in, but what they got advertised, we've got Morrissey versus Willie Mack, and that's a no DQ match. What do you think? You know, of this match? Now, I think Willie's going to get an absolute beating, but
it's going to be. It's going to be short and sweet. Morrissey's going to beat Willie Mack to a pulp before the match really even gets underway, and it's just going to lead to a short fight between him and Rich Swann. It's really just to build hype towards their match against all odds, which I'm all for, to be honest. Because I'm hoping that the match with Rich Swann is going to be no DQ. So I did question, why is it not a no DQ and against all odds? But we've got this match against Willie Mack. I mean, we know what's going to happen as soon as this match starts, because you only got to see what happened when Morrissey got that match with Rich Swann last week. We didn't even have a referee in the ring, and Morrissey knocked the shit out of Rich Swann before security got down.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Guys, I'm not sure about a Bison lick soundbite. I don't know. You have to have a word with brother Carl about that. You never know. Everyone seems to want. But there you go. Anyway, just acknowledging that one. I just want to acknowledge that. Who knows, brother Kyle? If there's a Bison lick soundbite you want to add in there, you crack on, sunshine. That'd be a nice, unique one for TNI-UK live, wouldn't it? That'd be great. But yeah, no, I think this is going to be, like you said, this is either going to be a really competitive match, or it's going to be an absolute beatdown by Morrissey on Mac. Who knows? You may even see Rich Swann come out to try and make the save again. What do you think?
Given that Mac faced Morrissey previously, I can see Mac being more prepared for him this time.
I don't know, mate. I guess. How do you prepare for someone that's like 7 foot plus?
He'll still get his ass kicked, but you know, I can see him getting a few more hope spots in this time.
Yeah, and maybe we'll have to wait and see, won't we? It's like I said, it's either going to be a cracker of a match, or it's going to be an absolute beatdown on Willie. We're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, what do you think, Joe?
Oh yeah, without doubt,
I think Morrissey's definitely going to get the come out of this match walking tall, or Rich Swann's going to come in during the match and save Willie Mack, so then they'll be holding in the ring. But like you've both said, Willie Mack is going to be a bit more prepared because he's already lost to Morrissey once before. But I see Morrissey's going to attack Willie Mack before he gets to the ramp, and then that's where it's going to lead to like Rich Swann coming out to save him, so they hold the ring. I think this match isn't going to get underway. It's there to build on towards against all odds and what's happening there. It's not there to be a good 5 or 10 minute match. I'm not sure what the right term of phrase for it is, really. It's a spot filler, but a good one. It's not like a squash match where it's just someone to put someone over. It's there to build onto something rather than put someone over. And Morrissey, he's absolutely terrifying. So you can be prepared as much as you want for him, but to actually stand up to him and look up to while looking up to him like that, shitting your pants, it's quite a skill on its own.
Yeah, I mean, the dude is
to be nice to your face, and then I'll go bury you behind your back.
Fair dues. Yeah, so it's. I mean, I just think that at the end of the day, it's kind of I don't. Was that Mark then?
I don't know. I couldn't see anything.
Was that Mark as a young man in that, and then Mark speaking? I've not seen that clip before. So anyway, let me know. I'm sure that was Mark, but anyway. So it's going to be interesting how this one pans out, but I think everyone's pretty much in agreement that Morrissey is obviously going to win this match, leading into obviously his match with Rich Swann at Against All Odds, which we'll talk about in a bit. We've then got Havoc versus Rosemary advertised. Now, if Havoc wins, she'll be added to the Knockouts title match at Against All Odds. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to call this one a BQ. From Impact Lounge, or do this to on the odd occasion, put out there like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" kind of thing. Like, what is the point in this kind of type of thing? Now, for my kind of thought process in this one is it's there is a possibility, okay, that you could be looking at. This is like Rosemary by design kind of thing, in a sense that, she's been working on Havoc You've seen glimpses of them working together over the past few weeks. Now all of a sudden she's sort of kind of pulling against it. She
Yeah.
wasn't a couple of weeks ago. Like 3 or 4 weeks ago, she wasn't sure. Then we had stuff going on with Taylor Wilde. She's disappeared, but that was they all sort of kind of come together as like a group type scenario. And then all of a sudden, last week, she's now, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Stay away from me, blah, blah, blah. So she's sort of gone the opposite way. Is it a ruse? This is what I'm saying. Is this a ruse? Is it going to be a case of, Rosemary's going to lose to Havoc to get Havoc in the match, which then puts the odds in her favor to win the title? I'm just throwing that one out there. Could Havoc ultimately be
my mind?
Yeah, could Havoc ultimately be the spanner in the works for Deanna to lose her title to Rosemary? Joe.
That's how I see this match going, and that's what I see why they made the stipulation and everything. It's black and white. So why people are complaining about it then is a bit beyond me. You some of these guys should really know a bit more about storytelling and how matches and that are built a bit better than I do, and I'm pretty sure most of them do. But even I can see that this is exactly what was going on. I think against all odds, Deanna Price is going to walk out the champion regardless. So this might then go back to Rosemary versus Havoc to try and get Havoc on side, and could even go back to bringing Sue Young back. There's a lot more that can spin off from Havoc versus Rosemary or Havoc and Rosemary. But ultimately, I do think Havoc is going to end up joining Decay, and this will be the first stepping stone towards that. They'll be like Havoc and Rosemary will work well together against Deanna Purrazzo, but will still just come up short because Deanna Purrazzo's got this match with Fabi Apache, and Britt Baker's also issued a challenge to her as well in its match as well after she won the women's title at AEW.
Yeah.
So Deanna Purrazzo is going to be champion for a while. But this is going to help keep Rosemary and Havoc more relevant, because both of them are drifting off the site a bit on occasions. So
yeah.
But it's just a good way, especially with Havoc, because people have been wondering what else can you do with Havoc now that Nevaeh's gone, and this is exactly what you're going to do with Havoc. You're going to build her into Decay, and then Rosemary and Havoc are then going to be a strong tag team to go for the Knockouts tag titles. So that there's your route there. It's simple.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I definitely think you could be right on that one, because I honestly think we're going to get Havoc and Rosemary eventually as a tag team, and then go in for those tag team titles. There's got to be some way that Decay are going to get some titles in their future. I can, in some way that's got to happen, because otherwise they're not going to get a payoff in there at all for all the hard work that they're putting in. Again, although is Decay that faction? It doesn't necessarily need a title to be relevant and to do a good job.
No, but
there is that argument.
Yeah, they don't need a title, but and even Rosemary and Crazy Steve aren't too bothered if they get a title. But for story purposes and for just general sense of having them on the roster, that at some point they will need to win a belt, or they will need to have a title again. TJP wasn't overly bothered about being X Division champion again, and he's had it about three more times since he's come back. It just makes sense to put other people over. And let's be honest, Fire and Flavor versus Decay would be awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. God, it would be an amazing match, absolutely amazing match. Okay, so I mean, we we've got our thoughts on this one. Now, again, we've got Joe Doring versus Eddie Edwards. So this must have been filmed then before he had his appendix out. So I think we did work out in one of a couple of shows previous that Eddie possibly was there for at least one full day of tapings. So maybe he managed to get this one in on that day before he then went off, obviously, and ended up having his operation. But what are your thoughts on this one? Because I'm assuming that Joe's going to win this. Because he cannot go, although I don't know, it's difficult because Joe can't go into the match against Marufuji as a loser, can he?
Kojima. It's not it's Kojima.
Sorry, Kojima. Yeah, sorry, Kojima. He can't go in. He can't go in that match as on a losing, from a losing match. Surely.
No.
No. Joe Doring's got this match won, and Eddie Edwards is putting this match over already on Twitter. He's got his Noah versus All Japan Pro Wrestling as a hashtag already for the two companies that they represented when they were in Japan, and and Joe Doring was also at New Japan as well. Obviously, he was at All Japan and New Japan, but this is going to be a good match. It's going to be good to see how Eddie Edwards holds up against a monster like Joe Doring. This is like the only second time I think we've seen Joe Doring in a singles match, which is going to be good, which is going to be interesting as well, because he is awesome in the ring. So I watched his match with Kojima for, a couple of months ago. Just saw it randomly. It was absolutely fantastic. So when he come to Impact Wrestling and they have this rematch, I was really, really pleased to see it coming.
Yeah, definitely.
But Joe Doring's definitely going to get the win or in this match, and Kojima is obviously going to be with Eddie Edwards, so that they might end up holding the ring at the end of the match. But all bragging rights will still be in Joe Doring's favor, and then the match at AGAINSTALLODDS, that's going to be out there with Michael Elgin versus Marufuji from a couple of years ago. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, like Joe said, I definitely feel like Doring has this one, and I mean, as much as I love Eddie, this win does nothing for Eddie. Eddie winning this match, he doesn't have a match booked. A win for Edwards does nothing here. So yeah, Doring winning this match is an easy pick.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
It's a good way to get Eddie to say why Eddie Edwards isn't at the next set of tapings as well, because he's been not taken up by Joe Doring.
Yeah,
so
he's going to get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Or is there a possibility that again there's shenanigans going on with regards to Violent by Design that come in and just basically give Eddie an absolute beatdown? We don't even get a match.
I'd say that happens after the match as kind of like is the main event. I'd say that happens after the match, and we just sort of fade to black with them kind of beating Eddie down and just standing in the ring over Eddie's, and that could be a way to write him off.
Proud as a peacock.
So that's how I see it panning out.
I'm extremely proud as a peacock, to be fair. I really am. So it's interesting how that's going to pan out then. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a really good go-home show. Obviously, we're going to get to see a couple of more matches being made. We've currently got 7 matches to talk about in a minute with regards to Against All Odds. But we seem to end up with 8 or 9. So, I can see we're going to get, a few alterations, obviously, to the matches. Maybe some additions, like we say, with the world title match. Maybe Sammy's going to end up in there. And of course, some stipulations maybe added. But of course, there's got to be at least one more match to be added to this card. 8 would be bare minimum, I would have thought. In the past, like I said, we've had 8 or 9. Let's see. Fingers crossed. We'll find out tomorrow night. I guess we'll find out tomorrow night. So, moving on from the go home show, which I'm very excited about. We have got this Saturday on Impact Plus. We have got the Impact Plus special Against All Odds. We've got a card set up at the moment. We're going to talk about all 7 matches, and our thoughts where we're going to go with that. Like I said, I'm hoping for 9 matches as well, Lakers. I really am, but who knows? It depends. I quite happily have 8, or quite happily have 7, as long if we had some, as long as each match gets a good run, get some good time.
Yeah, for me, 7's enough for me, because there's a lot of multi-person. There's a lot of matches with more than 4 people in. So 7 matches on the card. They'll need at least good 7 or 8 minutes each to give them some good momentum. And
exactly, you're going to need 15, 20 minutes, even half an hour for the main event.
In Under Siege, a couple of matches felt quite short, didn't they? So I feel like 8 is probably the limit you want to go to. Yeah,
no, totally. I totally agree with that. you know, at the end of the day, I think that, you know, bottom line is this: 7 is fine, but I'm pretty sure they're going to add an 8th. I'm 100% certain on that. I don't think we've had an Impact Plus special since they've started doing them the way they're doing them now. It hasn't been. It's been less than 8. So I would say we're going to have 8 matches, but we just have to wait and see. Okay, so let's have a look at the matches that we've got advertised as it stands. Let's have a look at our thoughts. Let's talk about where we're going with it. So first match advertised. Now, whether this is going to be the first match in the card, we have no idea. So we're not going in any running order or anything like that. They're just in the order that they come on the website. So the first match we've got advertised is the X Division #1 contender match between P.T. Williams versus Trey Miguel versus Ace Austin versus Chris Bay versus Rohit Raju. Now, we've got 5 fantastic wrestlers in there. Fantastic wrestlers. I was surprised that we didn't see a return of Ultimate X in here, you know, because I think that would have been a really good match. Now, I don't know if maybe height is an issue in the studio or maybe it's a concept they want to save for a live, you know, for an in-person match where we've got a live crowd. I don't know, but I would really love to see an Ultimate X match pretty soon now. I really miss them.
I think they're probably waiting for fans to come back because that's a gimmick that really needs fans.
I think so. I think you're right. You know, you're gonna get a massive pops, and it's gonna go crazy for the crazy stuff that goes on in all the X matches. I think you're right. Maybe, you know, we could see something like that at Slammiversary, as we're gonna have an audience. Maybe we could see something like that happen. But again, like I said, I don't know if maybe there's a height issue which plays into the factor of having an Ultimate X match at the studio. It's just not high enough for that.
It's been a bangorama.
And Ace Austin, I don't know, could he be the top pick for this? I'm going to say that for me, I think the next #1 contender for the X Division title is going to be Trey Miguel. I think Trey's going to win this match. We haven't seen him for a few weeks, and I think he's going to come back with a bang and a real, you know, he's definitely going to come back with a bang. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, you saying about the Ultimate X, given Josh Alexander's promo and everything he said, I was surprised that we weren't going to see a King of the Mountain match for the X Division title.
Yeah, there is that as well.
I said King of the Mountain a hell of a lot, did he? But yeah, I'm torn between Chris Bay and Trey Miguel. If you're saying Trey, I think I'm gonna go for Chris Bay.
Okay, fair enough. What about yourself there, Joe Boy?
Oh well, you've read my article, so you know my three choices. There's Ace Austin, because it's the most obvious one, which will either lead to a big final match for Josh Alexander as X Division champion, or it'll be the last #1 contendership shot Ace Austin gets for a while, and then he hopefully goes on to build a tag team up with Batman Fulton a bit more. I've got either Trey Miguel, because like you guys have said, he's not been seen for a while. He's had a load of shots before, but he's always come short. And this could be his big time to shine, because he does have the passion, Sammy. So don't dare argue with that. But my pick is P.T. Williams. I think P.T. Williams is going to first of all put the ultimate upset up by winning, and it's him winning is going to help put Josh Alexander over when they face off against each other, because Josh Alexander, I think, is on track and should be on track to beat Austin Aries' X Division title. I think Josh Alexander could do it, and he would be my choice to do it at the moment, unless of course Ace Austin does manage to win the title. Then Ace Austin will be my pick to beat Austin Aries' title run, because out of those two, no disrespect to TJP, Chris Bay, or anybody else, those guys deserve it so much. And but I think
we wanted Petey last time, didn't we?
Yeah, I think Petey Williams is going to win, and it's going to be a big feel-good moment when he faces Josh Alexander as well. So it's going to be another big professional match.
If P.T. Williams wins, which would be the most, unpredictable, as Eric Travis says, the most unpredictable winner of the match, then it, like you say, it would be a way of prolonging Josh's reign, because again, Trey Miguel's a big player now within Impact Wrestling. So if Trey wins, then and then loses to Josh, then that's not good for him. But if Petey wins, then you potentially look at maybe a Petey Williams versus Josh Alexander, match for Slammiversary. That could ultimately be Petey Williams, all Canada one. It could ultimately be Petey Williams' last kind of in-ring match, for instance, before he goes on to managing or goes behind the scenes or doing whatever else he's doing. It could be his last big match. And that also Josh obviously will win.
Yeah, it's something similar like we got between Tommy Dreamer and Rich Swann and James Storm and Eric Young. They got a big match before that they finally stopped showing up in the ring. So that's why I'd like to see if Petey Williams is going to have one final match for a while, because we all know he'll be back again later on.
I just have a feeling. That is the most unpredictable and the most shock factor win out of this lot. Is that if Petey does win, you get into Slammiversary, we get the final hooray, and it might even be like, is a retirement match or in-ring match or whatever you want to call it.
Could be going to.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, Petey is again another contender for Hall of Fame. The dude has done it all. He's an amazing athlete, an amazing wrestler for TNA, Impact, X Division, whatever he's done. Petey Pump, I have to say, is my favorite incarnation of Petey Williams. I love Petey Pump. So bottom line is that it could be a real nice feel good moment, I guess, if we got something like Josh versus Petey for the X Division title at Slammiversary. I think that would be a really cool moment. And at the end of it, Petey announces his retirement, in the ring. That's not very nice. I know I put on a few pounds over lockdown and that, but geez, come on, boys. I think it's an interesting one. It really is. It really is an interesting one. But I think that would be quite a nice story if Petey won. Yeah. But I think a lot of people would be going nuts over it. How the fucking hell does Petey Williams win over Trey Miguel or Ace Austin? Oh, another old guy winning over the young guys. You're going to get all of that bullshit. But at the end of the day, Petey Williams can still go. Yeah. He's a great wrestler, and I think it would be a good match Slammiversary. But that's just my thoughts on that one. So we've then got advertised the Knockouts Tag Team Championship, which is Fire and Flavor versus Kimberly and Susan. Now, this match for me sort of kind of came out of nowhere. I think it's a case of like, well, at the moment we've got no real tag team contender, so let's just throw Kimberly and Susan back into the mix. For another team for Fire and Flavor to sort of kind of beat, I guess, and prolong their run a little bit longer until possibly they got to the point where Havoc and Rosemary, for instance, is coming through, or whatever it is that they're gonna do for the next sort of female tag team. So what are your thoughts on this one? I like I said, I'm looking forward to the match because I think it's going to be a good match. But for me, it's come from nowhere and doesn't mean anything. So, Steve, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, like you said, this is a bit of a weird one where, like, it's the first one where it screamed, I'm not sure what to do, because, like, you've got Kimber and Susan who, like, when it doesn't really scream great match against Fire and Flavor, like, especially when Susan's in her Susan character in a tag match. It's not one when you read it and you think, this is going to be a 5-star classic. But there is the possibility that we see Su Yung, in which case, if she does appear, then you feel like they've got to win.
Yeah.
But again, the Su Yung character isn't going to be probably around consistently. So it is one of those where, like, either we're going to get a comedy match, or we're going to get a surprise where Fire and Flavor lose the titles quickly.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Joe? What do you think on this one?
I'm looking forward to it. I think this could also be the beginning of the end between Susan and Diana Prazo and Kimberly. I think this will be the point where Kimberly says to Diana, look, she's just completely out of control. Can we please just get rid of her? I like the crazy. Sorry, Steve. I nearly called you Crazy Steve. Steve was saying about Steve was saying about Sue Young coming back. I could see like Kira Hogan screaming at from the apron. You know, your time has come. Your time has come. Yeah, you know that. And then that all of a sudden, like lights go out, and then Sue Young will come flying down the ramp. That would be an awesome spot just to put on the night, or to put on any night if should they get another match together. That would be that would be awesome, because when they brought Sue Young back before when Susie was there. That was fantastic. Yeah. And those sort of spots, they never get old. That's one of the best things about Sue Young, is that you can do so much of their character and it just doesn't get boring. But the match itself, it's going to be good for Kimberly. It's going to be another good match for her. And it's going to be great to see Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz, because I think they're fantastic talent, and we're going to see them winning. Obviously, that's pretty much black and white.
Yeah.
But it's going to be another good showing from Kimberly, and
I hope so. Kimberly's an amazing talent, and I want to see a turn on Deanna, to be honest, because I'd love to see Kimber versus Deanna. Because
if Deanna Purrazzo like walks out during the match or just doesn't come there, it adds more for Kimberly to say, well, what the hell are you actually doing? Aren't you on our side, or are you not? But if they lose, it also builds towards them. Deanna Purrazzo and Kimberly just trying to get rid of Susan, so it's got good story development that way. And for Fire and Flavor, it's more we've beaten everyone here. Who's next? And they've been calling out quite a few people from AEW's women's division for a long time. With Tony Khan and Scott D'Amore getting together again, I'm hoping that this might patch over some of the rough start to the AEW and Impact Wrestling relationship. We have that controversy with Sammy Guevara earlier this year. Hopefully that's all done and dusted now, because Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz have been calling out Big Swole and somebody else as a tag team to come and face them for their titles. And that would be awesome. I would love to see that happen.
Well, like you say, I mean, we do need to start seeing some other, AEW stars coming in with regards to the female division. I think that would be really good to see that, and I'd like to see, Fire and Flavor, turn up at AEW and defend their title there as well against some of their tag teams. It'd be interesting to see Fire and Flavor versus I keep forgetting her name. Is it Diamante, which is obviously Kira Hogan's girlfriend? Yeah, and isn't she in a tag team with somebody?
Yes.
So, is it? You imagine seeing that? That would be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so there's lots of potentials there, but who knows? We just don't really know where this AEW thing's going, do we? So we're just sort of going along with it, see what happens, and be happy with whatever it is, basically. So it would be cool to see a little bit more going on. Would be cool. Okay, so I think we're all going to go for a Fire and Flavor win on this one, right?
Yeah.
Period. With some possible shenanigans involving Deanna Purrazzo, maybe, who knows? And again, if this happens before, obviously, which it will happen before the Deanna Rosemary possibly Havoc championship match, then and Deanna does something silly, like you say, like walk away from them or something like that, who knows? Maybe the shenanigans would be like Kimberly get pissed off with Deanna and come in and cost her the match against Rosemary. There's all sorts of potential ideas it could happen there, I'm sure. But I certainly believe we're gonna see a Fire and Flavor win there, and again them continue with their fantastic Knockouts tag title run. Now we then move on, and we've got the Impact Tag Team Championship match between VBD, with being Dina and Rhino, not Joe and Rhino, because obviously Joe's got a match, versus Decay, and that would obviously be Steve and Black Taurus. Now, listen, we've already spoke about this with regards to BTI. Is it going to be a case of, whoever loses at that is going to sort of effectively be the winner in this match, or where is this going to go? I think for me, it's got to be VBD retained, because they've literally only just won it. So if they were to then lose in their first proper match, after winning those tag titles, I think it would be a bit lackluster and a bit crap, to be honest. I think that would be the worst thing to do at this point. Plus, I'm hoping that we're going to see, obviously, the previous tag champions come back for New Japan FinJuice to then have a little run against VBD, where hopefully VBD would still, which then VBD hopefully will come out on top of that as well, and then that would be a good send off for FinJuice on their way back to Japan for good. Although I do like FinJuice, I must admit, I think they're a great team, and I wouldn't, if their contracts came to an end and Impact signed them, I certainly wouldn't be unhappy about that. I think they're a good team. I love Juice Robinson. I think he's great. He's great on the mic. He's got good presence in the ring. David Finley is an incredible wrestler as well. So both guys would be very much welcome on the Impact roster as far as I'm concerned, if that ever happens. I'm going with VBD. What are you going with, Steve?
Yeah, likewise. For me, VBD, and I think that this is where Dina kind of continuously getting pinned is going to pay off, because I think he's the one who's going to get the pin in this match.
You think he's gonna pin Steve or something?
Yeah, and I think
that's how I would see it. Yeah.
You
You
see it that way as well, Joe?
Yeah. I would like the case to win, but then that would be sort of like if it was to follow on, like I was saying earlier with the ongoing story, it would be like when we had LAX versus the OGs, where they would lose the title for no reason, then to probably just win it back some other time, like within 2 or 3 weeks, which as awesome as it would be to see Decay as tag champions, I'd rather see them win it and win it, and it be like the end of the rivalry, or the beginning of the next chapter of the rivalry, rather than it being winning it and continuing on the current chapter of the rivalry, which is only literally just got started. We've only just starting to get to know the history between Crazy Steve and Dina and Eric Young, and Dina needs to get the pin in this match if Violent by Design do win. He needs that momentum back. He needs that faith from Eric Young back as well. Because
I think that I've got to say this now. I think the problem that we've got with this match is you've got two factions. Okay, now for me, if Decay lose this one, then and they also lose, and Rosemary also loses, Decay look really weak as a faction. And that's my only concern at this, because if they all lose, then they look weak, and nobody wants to see Decay looking weak, do they?
No, but Rosemary's always got a plan B.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. I really hope that the Hive Queen's got something up her sleeve, and that's why I'm saying I think maybe Havoc is part of that plan. Moving forward, I don't know. It's interesting. So who are we going to go with? I think I'm going to go VBD on this one.
Yeah, VBD as well.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going with VBD. I think everyone in the chat is pretty much going for VBD as well, by the looks of it. We then move on. Yeah, we do. We then move on, and we've got just a bog standard match: Swan versus Morrissey. Obviously we've got the BTI. Obviously we've got the match between Willie Mack and Morrissey tomorrow, which is sort of kind of setting this up. I don't know, because I'm going to go Morrissey for the win, based on the fact that they're obviously pushing him, and it would be very unrealistic for Swan to beat somebody of Morrissey's size. Now, we all know that, Rich is all about heart, and, we know that he can go, and he could go all night, as he tells us. We know that. But Morrissey is huge, and if he was to beat Morrissey, in this match with no help or anything like that, I can't see it happen. I think this would be one of the worst sort of kind of I don't know. I think it'd be the worst ways that match could go. As much as Swan is a former world champion, I love Rich Swann, he's a great guy. I just think that if he was to win this match, it would be ridiculous. That I'm just going to leave that one there. I think it would be ridiculous if he was to win this match based on size really alone. I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, like I sort of said with Willie and Morrissey earlier, I can see Rich having this being a good back and forth match. But I do see Morrissey winning it, but I don't see Rich getting like obliterated and it being a complete whitewash. I do see it being more back and forth.
Okay, what about you, Joe?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be like when Rich Swann had those matches with Michael Elgin. You know, those two went up a good 20, 25 minutes against each other and beat the shit out of each other for it. The only difference is Rich Swann can't lift up someone like Morrissey. That's the only real difference. So there's going to be a lot more high flying offense and kicks and stuff. And hopefully, if this match might get an extra stipulation chucked in, like no disqualification, last man standing or something like that, so that would add more into Morrissey's favor than it would to Rich Swann, although Rich Swann would be happy to go with it regardless. So it doesn't make Rich Swann look weak if he loses. It just backs up that Morrissey is an absolute beast, and at the moment he's unstoppable.
Yeah, and you got to remember as well, Swan held the world title for like 5-6 months, and you know, if he gets completely obliterated, then you know, where does that leave Swan? He goes from holding the world title for 5-6 months to like getting beat in like 2 minutes. So,
it's going to be.
I don't think. I'm not saying that Swan's going to get obliterated. What I'm trying to say here is that you know, if he was to beat Morrissey like 1-on-1, fair and square, it would be ridiculous. Like it would be silly. It's just that's just not can't happen. It just can't happen. That would be silly. If Rich was to win via, you know, a DQ, or you know, he was going to win by another way, then I can see that. But what I cannot see is Swan pinning him 1, 2, 3. I just can't see it.
No, it'd have to go a very long time to tire him out first before, and even then, so it would be really hard to keep him pinned down. But
I think it'll be a while before we see Morrissey pinned, and I think it'll be a while, and then they'll acknowledge, hang on a minute, he's on a streak.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? You know, who knows? Randy Sam is talking about Enzo possibly. Maybe Enzo's going to turn out. Who knows? You know, although I can't see that happening yet, because you know, maybe Enzo will turn up at Slammiversary. I know that Enzo has actually stated publicly that he's not interested in wrestling without being in front of a crowd. We know why that is, because his character doesn't work unless he's a heat magnet. You know, so his character he doesn't work unless he's got people booing him, basically, or at least, you know, I mean, I know I've seen Enzo having crowds in the palm of his hand, like, you know, he's so good at that. So I would like to see Enzo in Impact, but I think it has to be the right time.
I mean, it depends obviously on Enzo and Morrissey, but I'm enjoying Morrissey on his own. So kind of, we pair them back together. Are we just going to go back to sort of them as a duo? You know, can't we see
maybe? But they are
on their own.
But they are still turning up together on the indies on occasions. I believe the weekend just gone, they were together at some show. So the friendship is still there. The association is definitely still there. But you're right. You know, Morrissey's doing pretty well on his own at the moment, so it is good to see that. Definitely. Now we then move on to what I think is probably one of the most intriguing matches of the night, and that obviously is the Knockouts Championship match with Deonna Purrazzo versus Rosemary. We've hit on this earlier. We think Habit's going to be inserted into this match in some way. You know, I'm going to put my neck on the line on this one. And I know you guys don't agree with this, and I know a lot of people in the chat don't agree that Deanna's going to lose. But I got a funny feeling that this is all planned. There is something in the works here that Habit's going to end up in the match, and Rosemary's going to end up winning the Knockouts title, even if it's only for a short period, because we know that, Deanna's got other things coming up in the pipeline possibly, but I don't know. Maybe she could end up with another match against Rosemary one-on-one at Slammiversary to win it back. Then that leads her into the stuff that she's doing with AAA. I'm not sure how the dates sort of kind of pan out on all of that, but I don't know. I've just got this feeling that Rosemary's going to win that title for the second time, and Havoc's going to have something to do with it. So, sound off, Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, I would love Rosemary to win, and I've been calling for ages for Rosemary to get a second Knockouts championship run. I just don't see it happening at the moment with all the stuff that Deanna Pratt has got going for at the moment. With this match with Fabi Apache, I think it's in July. The match with Fabi Apache at Triple Mania. I'm not sure, but I know it is pretty soon.
But is it after? This is the thing. Is it after Slammiversary or is it before Slammiversary? That's what I'm saying. She could afford to lose that title against all odds as long as she wins it back before she goes there.
Yeah, but then that doesn't do Rosemary any favors, then, does it? Really, it just gives her a short stint at holding being champion for the sake of having it. It doesn't.
When is the date?
Slammiversary is June the 18th. No, so that's
July the 17th.
July the 17th. And I think Triple Mania is on the same week. Is on the same weekend. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
But it can't be on the same weekend because they'll both be live.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's I know. I think it's either the same week or it's the week afterwards.
Okay.
Have a look.
Look it up, Steve. Look it up. Be interested in see when that is, because like I said, I'm a big Deanna fan. Don't get me wrong. There you go. Triple Mania, 14th of August. So right. So she could lose, and exactly. So she could lose, and she could get it back before then to make that work. Okay. So, but like I said, it's a thought. I would love to see Rosemary get a second run, even if it's not for that long. I think that would be great. And like I said, that could then become the creation of the Havoc and Rosemary tag team or whatever. There's loads of things that could happen at this point. It's just a thought. It's just something I've had streaming around in my head. I could be talking absolute hogwash, but you just never.
Uncle is this? If the 80s don't come back and get they uncle for real.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. I am actually an uncle from the 80s, funny enough. But anyway, so it is, interestingly enough, like I said, there's loads of ways we could look at it. We all have our own sort of thoughts, and I'm always trying to think of different crazy ideas that could happen during storylines, etc. No, I could be talking hogwash, I don't know. But sound off in the chat, guys. Let us know your thoughts. Is the Bison talking absolute garbage, or do you think I might be onto something?
No.
Yeah, so there we go. What are your thoughts on this one then, boys?
I think
I definitely agree with you.
You do?
Go on, Joe.
Yeah, Deanna Pratt has got this one, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
You think? So you're both going with Deanna?
Yeah.
No, I agree pretty much with you. Minus, I think Havoc's going to win it.
Okay, that's good.
Because that way, Rosemary still wins if she can get Havoc into Decay.
Right. Okay. I get it. I get what you say. So you're going to go with Havoc. I'm going with Rosemary. Joe's going with Deanna to retain. Who knows? It looks like a lot of people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Bison?" But there you go. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Okay, so we then move on to obviously one of the big matches of the night, where we've got New Japan Pro Wrestling Kojima versus Doring from VBD, and previously from All Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, I believe this match has happened before many years ago. So
it's been 10 years in the making. This rematch.
I'm saying that this is going to be a cracker of a match. Like it's going to be proper, full on, Japanese strong style all the way. Who have you got winning this one, Joe?
I've got Joe Doring winning this match. I think everyone's money is or on the outside is going to be on Kojima. I think Joe Doring is going to put the legend down again because he's beaten him. What he beat him before, which is why this rematch has come about because Kojima wants revenge. But I think Joe Doring is going to take him down again, and they might have a third match then at Bound for Glory, and then that'll be like the end of their rivalry there.
So interestingly enough, what if Kojima wins and then we get the rematch at Slam and then Doring wins?
Oh, then God knows what happens. There might even be a very, very brief sign of mutual respect between by Design and Kojima. You never know. They might just like cool the ice. But no, I think Joe Doring is going to win this one, and it might build up to something bigger because Kojima making this one-off opinion can't just be a one-off. You know, he's got to be there for a bit longer. It's just too big a star to have there for one night.
Possibly. You could be right there. Can I just say a quick hello to Trent? Trent normally produces a show. As he mentioned, he's been a bit busy today, so the Jabomski, stepped in to produce today. So that's probably why we're getting a few more sound bites and a few more comments being posted and stuff. J-Bone loves a good sound bite. So it's good to see that. But hopefully we'll be welcoming back Trent next week. So it's good to see both of them. Yeah, you're right.
Christmas.
There he is. The legend. So thank you ever so much for jumping in for Trent there, Jay. We really appreciate that. So all good. So looks like we're a bit split on this one. One. I mean, I'm going to go for Joe Doring to win. Okay, so there you go. What are we going for, Steve?
Yeah, like you say, it's difficult to call. I mean, I don't follow Japan, like any form of wrestling in Japan, so I don't know much about the history or anything. But just for sake of it, I'll go for the Impact guy and sort of go for Doring. I mean, he's got pretty much 100% record, I believe. So yeah, let's try and keep it up.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of people in the chat seem to be going for Kojima on this one, but what do you think on this one, Joe?
No, I think Joe Doring's going to win this match, and it's going to probably buzz onto something bigger later on down the line. Even if Kojima disappears for a couple of weeks and then comes back again. But
it's interesting because I think when you had that Eddie Edwards Kojima mutual respect thing at the last week, I think that obviously that was done prior to Eddie getting his operation. I think that was leading to having Eddie Edwards versus Kojima at Slammiversary.
Yeah,
maybe.
But
it's going to be awesome, whatever happens.
But obviously, I think obviously that's obviously not going to happen now. But maybe we'll see Kojima come back at a later date and see him against Eddie. I think that would be one hell of a match as well. Kojima versus Eddie Edwards. I mean, wow! Can you imagine it? Can you imagine that? That would just be I can't stop smiling thinking about it. Everybody, look. Eddie Edwards, Kojima, fuck me.
Never say never.
Yeah, man, that would be one hell of a match. You never know. Okay, so we then move on. I'm a little bit conscious of time. We've been going for an hour and a half already, guys. We've still got a few things to talk about. So obviously, the next advertised match at the moment is the main event, which is obviously the Impact World Championship match, which is obviously Kenny Omega versus Moose. Obviously, tomorrow night, we've got the Summit. We know that Sammy is going to possibly feature in here somewhere. Is there going to be some sort of stipulation in regards to Don Callis' future? I don't know, but I am very interested to see exactly what happens tomorrow night on this one. Do we see Kenny Omega losing the title? I think that's the main question here. Is Kenny Omega going to lose the title? It's not about who wins at this moment. It's about if he loses. Is Kenny Omega going to lose against all odds? What are your thoughts, Steve?
I'm going to say no, because I do have in the back of my mind, while he's the AEW champion still, I don't see him being booked to take pinfalls. The trouble is, I do feel like they're booked into a corner because Moose, he's had chance after chance after chance at the championship, and if he's going to lose again, then you've got to feel like this is his last chance.
It
On the
would
other
suck, I think.
hand, on the other hand, if Moose does beat Omega, this is Omega's first title defense. So if he does lose, then he's had one title defense and he's lost.
I guess, yeah. But again, I think that's why there's the possibility of inserting Sammy into this match, so that even if he does lose, he doesn't get pinned.
But then Sammy is always the scapegoat. Sadly, he does lose a bit. How can we take Sammy seriously as a top contender if he always loses?
But we also know that Sammy is a company guy, and he'll do whatever is needed to make the company look good. So
you need to believe that person is credible.
Yeah, I guess. By the way, Eric Travis, I agree. Kojima versus Eric Young would also be a pretty badass match. But I don't know. I think it's very difficult, and I mean, I'm going to stand by Kenny Omega is going to be the Impact World Champion right the way to Bound for Glory. Okay, that's my personal take on this. Right now, who takes it from him? Whether that be Moose, whether that be Sammy, I don't know. But what I do know is I think it's going to go all the way to Bound for Glory because, like you say, what an amazing Bound for Glory moment. Would that be for an Impact talent to then, bring back the Impact Championship to Bound for Glory, to Impact Wrestling at Bound for Glory, as the title states, it would be the right time to do it. I don't know. And also, again, if Kenny can win at Slammiversary, whoever that is against, then, maybe that kind of prolongs the situation. You need him to lose. He's not. I don't think Kenny Omega is going to lose at an Impact Plus special or an Impact Weekly show. It's going to be at a pay-per-view.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And
so
I do see like the only way I see it ending or one of them losing is through some kind of shenanigans, like because then whoever lost has a claim like I lost unfairly.
Yeah, again, there is that. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Oh, listening to what you guys have just said, it's swerved my opinion a bit. You look at the names of all the specials. We've got Under Siege and Against All Odds, and then Bound for Glory. All those sort of like hyping up a big fight feel, big battle, big climactic ending, and Kenny Omega going to Bound for Glory to then lose the title there. That makes the most logical sense. But I'm going to throw the spanner in the works, just for the sake of being throwing the spanner in the works. I'm going to say that someone beats Kenny Omega Against All Odds, which then backs up Don Callis, then saying, "Fine, that's it. I'm done with you guys. I'm off." But I think Kenny Omega might get a rematch and then come back for a big match at Bound for Glory, rather than Slammiversary, to make that a big Bound for Glory moment there. Although I don't think a rematch is in the contract clause for this, but it could be something that just comes about for the sake of coming about and having a big match because Omega is a huge star, and it would make a lot of sense. If you're going to make the Moose, especially if Moose wins the title, we want to make it really mean something for Moose. Bring Omega back for a rematch at some point. Out of who wins out of those two, it's most likely going to be Moose. Although I would prefer Sami Callihan. But seeing the recent messages from Moose on Twitter, it seems like this is now make or break for him. If he doesn't win it now, then he's either that or he's just teasing the entire fans, and he's actually re-signed the contract because there's rumors that he's still staying with Impact. But he's like saying that if I defend it, win by the end of this contract, and that's it, I'm done. And he's even already handed out a thank you notice to everybody on the roster about everything. So we don't know if he's actually made a decision to go. Could he be signing with Don Callis and then turn on Sami Callihan to keep the title on Omega, and then that built towards Bound for Glory. But I'm gonna say that just for the sake of it being an asshole and just for the sake of throwing a sperm in the works. Omega loses against all odds. I got to be right. I got to be right at some point with these wild theories. So maybe let's hope that this is one of the few times I am actually right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. A lot of people in the chat seem to think that you know that they're rooting for Sammy.
Oh yeah, I'd be rooting for Sammy more than Moose, but that's because I'm a Sammy guy and I respect the hell out of Moose. But Sammy Callahan, since he come in, he's been absolutely fantastic, and it took a little while for Moose to grow on me, and after his heel turn, it took a while for that to grow on me too. But that was just good storytelling, and when you look back at it with hindsight. But Sammy Callahan was one of these guys that as soon as he started going, you could not take your attention off of him. And he put Tessa Blanchard over, and that all sadly went pear shaped. He let Michael Elgin go over him, and rather than going back for his rematch, then he decided to sit all that out, and he could have had his rematch for the world title last year, and he sat it out instead and went with Ken Shamrock to face the North, and had a pretty good match against them too. But he could have gone for the world title last year, but he chose to sit it out and let everybody else get put over instead of him.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. I think Sammy's time needs to come. He needs to have a nice reign, and I still believe that Sammy is the anti-hero that we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's exactly where this is going to end up going. I think it's going to be Sammy that eventually ends up bringing that title back. I really
dumbass.
As much as I love Moose, I just feel that because Moose looks amazing. I mean, he is an absolute beast of a man now. Whether he's doing that for Impact or whether he's doing that because he wants to get noticed, he wants to move on, I don't know. We saw that with Ethan Page. He got himself jacked and then fucked off somewhere else. So
and Jordan Grace got herself in great shape and stayed.
Yeah, exactly. So you just don't know. I mean, Jordan Grace has always been in good shape as far as I'm concerned. She's just a big, strong, thick, strong woman that does a great job in the ring. She's a fantastic wrestler. So, for the style that she works at, she's perfect shape for that. Now, I don't know. I'm pretty much gonna go. I'm gonna say that Omega's gonna win because I'm still down with the whole. It's gonna go through to Bound for Glory. I honestly believe that. So Omega's gonna win. I think there's a lot of people in the chat that believe that as well. I'm not saying that that's what I want to happen. I'm just saying that I believe that's what's gonna happen.
Cocktail hour, brother.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not going with beliefs. I'm going with what I want rather than what I believe.
Fair enough.
Okay, fair dues. Fair dues. So it's interesting.
I'll go for Omega, and I got a feeling we'll see the Bucks show up and maybe cost Moose.
No, there's that as well.
Are we
going to see someone else turn?
He'll be prepared for the Good Brothers in Callis, but that could be something he won't be prepared for.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't know. And I know one thing. It just makes me more and more excited about where this is going to go, what we're going to see tomorrow night, leading in at the Go Home show, leading into Saturday's Impact Plus special Against All Odds. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a fantastic few days now for Impact Wrestling, and then. We're going to get we're obviously going to get the fallout the following week, which is going to be amazing as well. So there's a lot, there's a lot riding on tomorrow night, really. And then again, leading into Against All Odds, where that's going to go. I'm excited. I'm loving some of the comments you guys have put in. Everyone's very, very passionate about where they want to see this stuff go. I just think, looking at the way the story's going, I think it's going to be an Omega win. But there you go. Now, what I'm going to do is now we've pretty much finished talking about those 7 matches. I'm going to open it up. We've got probably about another 10 minutes to go, and that's about it for today. But, 5-10 minutes. Have we got any questions on anything we've been talking about tonight, or is there anything that you want our opinions on, guys? We'll open the forum up now. 2 or 3 questions. Go. Have we got anything that's already in there, guys, that maybe we can talk about? I like the fact that Generation Me, not the Bucks.
I still call them Max and Jeremy.
Yeah. Oh, Generation Me, they're in the building. Oh shit, no, it's the Young Bucks. But yeah, be interesting. So, have we got anything? Have we got anything?
You can say you're having a Jim Ross moment.
I'm just having a look through.
Anything there that we could ask? You know, if there's nothing there, that's fine. We can move on. But it would be cool. Lakers, you're absolutely right. We definitely got the passion, my brother. And we all love Impact Wrestling. We just love it, which is why we talk about it so much, I think. Okay, so we got Eric Travis. Who you want to see face Kojima? Right. Like I said already, I'm Eddie Edwards, and I like the idea of Eric Young. So whoever put that up earlier, I'm down with both of those guys facing Kojima. I think that would be pretty awesome. What about you, Joe?
Eddie Edwards versus Kojima is a sure front. The way Eddie Edwards now is promoting Pro Wrestling Noah versus All Japan Wrestling, and Eddie Edwards wrestled at Pro Wrestling Noah as well as Kojima has. So there's a mutual respect between them. There's a big feel good moment between them. That would be a great match for Slammiversary, especially because Eddie Edwards doesn't seem to be having much of a direction now, and this would be a good match for him to go to, just coming back from injury. So his time off won't be wasted. He can come back in, save Kojima, and then have a match with him at Slammiversary, and it would all just make perfect sense. You know, it's like when Michael Elgin called up Marufuji. It happened out of the blue. But if you knew the history between the two of them, it made a lot more sense, and it wasn't that hard to find the history between Michael Elgin and Marufuji. And then we got that match with Josh Alexander and Marufuji afterwards, and that was absolutely incredible too.
Yeah.
That's true.
That was going to be my pick to face Kojima. I would love to see Josh Alexander.
Oh, that would be awesome too. I'd love to see
definitely
the walking weapon versus.
Yeah. I said on Twitter I don't want to see him go for the X title, but I'd love to see a face off versus Alexander and Morrissey.
Yeah, definitely. Just answering your question, brother Lakers. TNI-UK Impacted are so fucking awesome just because we are us. If we weren't us, we would suck. So there you go. There's the answer to your question. So what else have we got in there? Get Before is saying that he thinks Kenny's going to drop the title because he believes AEW going back on tour fairly soon. I don't think that makes a lot of difference. What matches do you think we're going to see at Slammiversary? Who are some people you want to see get signed to Impact? And that's come from Maj Raju. Do you know what? I mean, I definitely like to see Aleister Black, Tommy End would be good. The Iconics, I'd love to see join the Knockouts division. Chelsea Green, Samoa Joe, I guess would probably be. I'm not too bothered about Braun Strowman. I don't think Braun brings anything would bring anything to Impact apart from a ridiculously large salary. But yeah, I definitely want to see the Iconics. I'd like to see, like I say, Aleister Black, Tommy End, Samoa Joe would be great, even if it was only a short run. And like I said, the Iconics, definitely. Chelsea Green. I'd love to see the Hot Mess come back and have a real good run. Like the proper full-on Hot Mess would be great. I loved the Hot Mess. I thought she was great. Chelsea Green is the Hot Mess. Fantastic. Laurel Van Ness would be amazing.
Could you imagine a Hot Mess with Sue Young, kind of a different kind of bride?
Yes, that would be interesting. Sue Young teaming up with the Hot Mess. That would be.
I have the runs.
I bet you do. Or maybe team up with Susie while she's got the runs. Who knows? Right, one more. Let's get one more. My pleasure, Lakers. My pleasure. What do you guys think of the match between Jake Rohit Raju last Thursday? I thought it was fucking badass. I'm not going to lie. I know that Josh Alexander versus TJP sort of kind of took the spotlight a little bit, but like if that hadn't happened, then that match would have been the match of the night for me. It was a great match, and what it does do though is show everybody exactly what those boys can do, and it also shows the confidence that Impact have in those two young guys or those two Impact talents, because they put it on as the follow-up to that incredible 60-minute Iron Man match. Yeah. So
yeah, it wasn't a match you'd easily forget. It was one of the outside the Iron Man match.
Yeah,
to me too, it was probably the best match of the night. It was certainly the most memorable one. I've only watched Impact fully once, and I watched the Iron Man match twice because I needed it for my article that I was writing on my blog. So I watched the Iron Man match all twice, and I watched the tables match, and that tables match was awesome. And it was just Jake something needed a strong push, and it seemed to be going up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah,
and
he needed that win.
And that win was awesome. You know, we saw him destroy Shearer last week. I was thinking Shearer would somehow come back in this match still, you know, and that him getting destroyed last week would be nothing. But at the moment, Shearer is now back at OVW, so that explains why he's away. And but Jake something is an absolute beast, and we've all been saying it for ages when we've been speaking about them in the past. That you get Jake something on his own eventually when if he was to break away from the Dinas, which he has done now, he can stand on his own 2 feet very, very quickly and rise to the top, and that's where he's going. I think it's going to be, and I can see him going for the exhibition title soon as well. That would be awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, Maj, I'm going to answer this one as well.
Damn right, Lakers it was.
Has put that he'd like to see Mance Warner turn up at Impact Wrestling. He's talking about some sort of like the indie guys and stuff. I'd actually like to see not only Mance Warner, I'd like to see someone like Mr. Pectacular, Jesse Goddard. I'd like to see him turn back up. I'd love to see. Yeah, I'd like to see the man turn up again. I'd like to see him come back. I'm quite a fan of Hammerstone. We all know that I love Jake Chris, so I'd love to see Jake Chris come back to Impact. He's obviously currently on the Indies at the moment. Lufisto, I'd like to see Lufisto turn up at the in the Knockouts division again. Only if it was a short, even if it's like a short pay-per-view, pay-per appearance type contract or something along those sort of lines. That would also help her get her visa, as I've heard she's having visa issues. So I mean, there's lots of there's lots of guys out there that I think would be pretty amazing to turn up on Impact Wrestling on the indie circuit. Some great guys out there. Have you got any thoughts on the indie guys at all, guys? Or
Andrew Everett's another one I'd like to see come back. Andrew
would be really good. Yeah. How about you, Steve?
Yeah. There's one guy that I always. He had an explosion match, but yeah, I can never forget. I always forget what his name was, but yeah, he was one of Alex Shelley's students. He came in with Trey Lamar and Ben Carter.
I like Casey. I like Casey.
Casey Navarro. But yeah, I didn't know.
I like him as well.
I didn't know if he was with AEW or not.
Yeah, no, he's good as well.
I think he's on there as a paper appearance. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's signed up for. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's signed up for a contract or anything with them. I think he's just doing he's just on the dark matches. He's not there on the full thing.
Gary, I'm down with that. I'm down with that as well. Aiden Prince would be great. Alexia Nicole would be great.
Yeah, Casey Spinelli's another one too. I love to see Casey Spinelli back.
Yeah. I think Alexia Nicole would be great being brought in by Taylor Wilde. I really do. I think they would make a really good tag team, little Canadian tag team. You know, like Taylor could bring Alexia in under her wing, kind of thing. You know, a bit like what Myers is doing with Sam Beale at the moment, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I think that would be quite interesting.
Yeah.
But I think that's all we got time for today, boys. We're getting close to 2 hours, which it's been quite a long one this week. So let's wrap it up there, guys. Can you let us know where we can find you on the socials and stuff, Joe? If anybody's interested, you definitely need to follow this guy. His daily giggles are fantastic. So where can we find you, Joe?
You can follow me on Twitter at JOKEmptySpace. You can jump onto Facebook, look for a hashtag The Void, hashtag Empty Space, hashtag Daily Giggle, and you'll probably find me somewhere there. You can also find me on WrestleBuddy. If you go onto WrestleBuddy.com and look for Impact Wrestling related content there, you'll find some of my stuff on there, and you'll find my most recent article on the rebuild of the X Division, which has gotten high praise from Josh Alexander and TJP. So I'd like to thank both of them and thank Jay Chung as well for their feedback and everything. So, I really appreciate that they've taken the time to look at it and spread it around on Twitter. It means a lot that they've even acknowledged it. That was the last thing I was expecting. So I really, really do appreciate that so much.
Well, it's good. It's good, brother. It puts eyes on TNI-UK too, doesn't it? That's the thing. It puts eyes here. No. I mean, to be fair, Josh is a fantastic guy, and I knew that if we tagged him in it, he would have a read of that. Same with Jade. She follows anything that is obviously got to do with Josh. She's total the best supporter that a man could ever have.
Thank you, Gary.
Sure. So it's good to see. It's good to see that kind of stuff. So don't forget WrestleBuddy.com. That's where Joe and Simply Steve exclusively write articles with regards to Impact Wrestling. Go check it out, guys. They both write some really good stuff. Steve, where can we find you, bud?
Like Joe said, you can find any articles that we write over at WrestleBuddy.com /Impact Wrestling section, or just over on the Twitter at SimplySteve311.
Alrighty. And again, follow Steve, guys. Show him some love. He's a massive fan of Impact Wrestling. He's always, getting involved, trying to find out scoops, and putting stuff out there. Obviously, you'll get to see his articles firsthand through WrestleBuddy as well. Both guys write some good stuff, so make sure you check some of that stuff out. Joe's tend to be pretty long, but believe you me, they're worth a read. They're worth a read. And while Hakeem is in the chat, I'm not sure if he's still there, but he was certainly in the chat earlier. Don't forget to check out Hakeem's articles as well. Good friend of the show, and he pops some stuff out on Twitter quite regularly as well. Some great stuff from him. If you're interested in following the Bison, this week I hit 1,201 follows. I'd love to hit 1,300. So make sure that you follow the Bison.
That's a lot of licks, guys.
That's a hell of a lot of licks. I'll tell you that now. That's a lot of licks. So it's funny actually. Every time I post a lick, I tend to get a like. So that's interesting. So definitely. So make sure that you check out the Bison if you've not already. Make sure also that you please give us a thumbs up. It only takes a second. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, you're new to the show, you haven't seen us before, make sure you hit subscribe and give the bell a tickle. Yeah, because then you'll never miss any of the great content coming from us each and every week. Of course, the US team as well, not just the UK team. We're here every Wednesday. US team do the review show every Thursday, as well as other stuff which comes out on a weekly basis. So make sure you check all of that out. What else am I going to say? Well, I think this has pretty much been it, really, for Impacted Live this week. I really hope you've enjoyed spending time with us in the chat as much as we've enjoyed spending time with you. We really appreciate all of the stuff that you guys come up with. It gives us so much food for thought. That was terrible. Food for thought. There you go. You've got to say these things properly, guys, haven't you? And you're right, 100% Beefalo Lakers. I'm telling you, brother, that's exactly what we're talking about. Anyway, with all that said, I'm looking forward to Impact tomorrow. With all that said, I've been Bison. They have been Simply Steve and Joker. And this has been episode 34 of Impacted. Take care, everyone.
Take care. See you later.
We